new exercises and
Of course
all
she
the stuff.
is.
And so just
Okay.
what did I? Oh, I forgot the other one.
Well, do you have both of them, or like?
No, I have
a
it on
one-sided.
two-sided.
Oh, it's the same thing.
But this is the one.
This is Haftorah.
Oh, it's your
I
Haftorah.
have things.
We don't have a copy of the Torah portion you're going to work on.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. In other words, you want
That
to
would be
save
true.
the
That would be true. And we may start working on that, or may not, depending upon how far we get here.
Cool.
So this is class 2. It is being recorded, so everybody be careful with what you say, because it could be held against you in a court of law.
My lips are so sealed.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Yeah.
Okay. So first session, we were talking about some of the basics, some of the background of trope and where it came from, that it's used for ritual chanting, that it's an ancient no system, and the most recent one is the Tiberian that is still used, and it comes from the 10th century of the Common Era. There are many subsets based upon whether one is Sephardic or Ashkenazic or from another country. And as I mentioned last time, when you go into Trope Trainer and go into a drop-down box, you can find probably about 28 different subsets of trope, which has little differences between them, all of them being kosher. But those are really they're distinctions based upon one's country of origin or the country of origin of your teacher. In this case, my version is Hungarian, so it's like a Hungarian dialect of trope. Other name for cantillation is nigun or neginot in Hebrew, trope in Yiddish, and trope, trope in English. The Torah trope is used to read from the first 5 books on most days, but then there are unique Torah tropes for high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. There's a unique trope for Haftarah. There's a unique trope for the Megillat Esther, and for Echa, which is a very mournful sound, which is used on Tisha B'Av, which will occur this Sunday, which commemorates the destruction of the temples. Yes?
Is the trope for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur the same, or are they 2 different tropes?
The trope for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the same. So it's the same unique melody. Now,
do they
yes, go ahead.
also have different Haftorah tropes for the high holidays?
No, interestingly, no. The Haftorah trope is the same for both holidays and for a regular Shabbat, but it's the Torah trope that is distinctive. Okay, so things are very difficult, but not quite that difficult. In Megillat Esther, that has a very unique sound to it, but there are particular passages within Megillat Esther where you have some sad occurrences, and you suddenly have to switch to the mournful Echa trope from Tisha B'Av, and then consciously switch back to the normal trope for Megillat Esther. That's, these are all some of the reasons that, your average Joe or Jill can't really just do this, because, you think about a kid on a bar mitzvah who starts out learning Torah and then has to suddenly switch into a Haftorah. And all the symbols look the same, but they're different based upon whether it's Haftorah or Torah. And in this case, based upon whether it's Tisha B'Av or whether it's Purim or whether it's Passover, Sukkot, Shavuot. There are some distinctions as well. We tend not to distinguish here at Am Yisrael in the 6th category down there, where you have a unique sound for Sukkot, for the the pilgrimage holidays of Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot, we tend to just use the normal weekday. So we're just slightly kinder. Yes.
The Megillat Esther trope is different than the regular Megillah trope.
Well, Megillah Esther is the Megillah for Purim.
Oh, but the trope itself is a different sound than the Megillah trope for the other holidays?
Yes. Yes, it is. Unfortunately. Yes. All right. The reason for cantillation is the other formal word for trope, is for syntax, phonetics, and music. And I love this quote at the end here where it says, the practice of reading scripture with a melody is an ancient one, and the Talmud suggests that a bad fate will befall anyone who reads from the Torah without a pleasant melody. So that really puts the heat on that when you're doing this, you better sound good or else. Just kidding. You know,
Lucky to get the words right.
as you know, we don't always buy into everything, and this is one that I think you probably choose not to. I encourage people to read Torah even if they're totally tone deaf. So, and have no experience that, you know, their life falls apart if they don't sound good. So we're going back to this sheet, and this is the trope exercise sheet. Let me just take a quick peek here, make sure. Aviva, are you still there? Okay, I don't see you, but hopefully you're still there.
Yes, I'm still here.
There you are. Okay. Sorry, you don't have to be on camera. I just wanted to make sure you were still there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have you been able to nod if you've been able to see things up on your screen? Have you?
Yes.
Ah, cool. Okay. Very glad to hear that. Now, I'm putting this back up, and I discovered something in terms of things a smartboard can do. Yeah, which is really sort of cool. And I can actually use these pens and circle things and even highlight. So I'm just excited as can be here. Let's go with green.
Yeah, because it's nice to see these combinations again, to validate those combinations of tropes
So
that we had.
take
I wanna
this
make sure I
green
got it
marker here, and the first note that we're dealing with, the kadma, look at that. You see that? It works, but I don't stain my hands or clothing because what you're seeing there isn't real.
Right.
Okay. It isn't real, and we're all seeing it. Isn't that great? Okay, so this is the kadma, and then underneath, and as we mentioned before, the symbols that you see here, these are actually the names of the symbols. So this is your kadma, this is your nach, this little thing that looks like a backwards L, and then we have the zarka, and the segol, and we have munach in front of each. So let's go back and see if you can remember to repeat it after me. Kadma,
Kadma,
munach, zarka.
Munach,
Munach, segol.
Munach, Sego.
For Aviva's benefit, I'm just going to mention that the munach that we have there, that backwards L, doesn't always sound the same. It depends what note follows it. So as we go through this exercise, you're going to hear the munach sounding a little different than it may have at another part of this cantillation exercise. The squiggly line that you have over the zarka, which I circled, it's over the aleph, has a, for those who are old enough to remember, as we talked about last time, it sounds like a Nestle's chocolate commercial where you have Nestle's makes the very best. And that sound here is Zarka. Okay, so then a little here that may help those individuals who are old enough to remember the commercial. All right, so back here, let's get this first line down. Kadma, with this symbol on the interior of the word, it looks the same as the pashta, which we have a little bit later on down here, but it sounds different because the kadma is on the interior of the word, whereas the pashta is on the outside of the word. So, first line again, kadma munach zarka, munach sego. Your turn.
Kadma munach zarka, munach sego.
Okay, so now I found something else that I can do here, and that is get the ink right off there. Isn't that something? Okay, and there's something else that I can do, which is to actually hit a highlighter and then go back up here. And now I think, isn't that just the neatest thing in the world? Okay, so that's the line that we're working on right now, but let's move ahead, and I'm going to clear this, and we're going to work on this part right here. Oh, I'm really getting this. Okay, so we have this munach with a line, which is called a munach legarme, and you have a like a little separation, or you almost look at it as a breath mark, where it goes munach, or some people go munach, and then we have a munach followed by the diamond shape over the word revi'i, which goes rivi'i. So you're walking down 4 stairs. So you have munach, munach, rivi'i. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Munach. Oh, this class is something else.
Now, will you see these always in a combination of these 3, or will they stand alone sometimes?
Well, the munach, as you know, can be followed by a different word. The revi'i can come without a munach before it.
Okay.
Sometimes you will just find it, like even with the first word of a pasuk, of a sentence, you will have a revi'i. So it'll just start out like vayomer. You might have a revi'i at the beginning.
Okay.
So Haviva, I'm hoping you're listening to this or hearing me, and then with this revi'i, which has like a little diamond over it, and that is like walking down 4 steps. Bum, 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 bum. So now, let's see if we can remember everything from that is highlighted here. Are we ready? All right, I tell you what, I'll do it first time through, and then you can do it. Kadma munach zarka, munach sego, munach rivi'i. Showtime.
Kadma munach zarka, munach sego.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about, before we move on, combinations, because that was really what you were asking about here.
Yes.
Do you normally see these things alone, or do you see them in combination? So if we just clear this for a second, these first four, forget about the kadma, just the munach, zarka, munach, sego. These you often see in this combination.
Oh, okay.
However, there are some times you will have it where you could have a munach, zarka, no munach, and just a sego. So in that case, it would be munach, zarka, sego. Okay. But whenever you see a zarka, you will find a segol somewhere near it.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, the other one that you would have together, either you often find a munach with a revi'i, very frequently, but you will also see the revi'i. Here is probably the one that you will see most frequently, and that is mapach, pashta, munach, zakef katon.
Really?
So, you know, what I look for in both Haftorah and Torah is almost like a theme melody, something that you hear throughout, and you can almost be guaranteed that in every sentence you read, you hear that, okay? So this one is la dum bum ba dum ba da dum bum bum bum. You hear that all the time. So this is ma pa pashta munach zakef katon. At times you can see this without a munach, but most of the time it's with it. If you didn't have a munach, it would go ma pa pashta zakef katon. But here it's ma pa pashta munach zakef katon. Okay. I'm going to get you back on my screen here for a second. Let's see. I want to see for a second. Let's see. Okay, there you are. Hi there. When I am highlighting things, like highlighting or circling things, do you see it? So if I highlight something in yellow, you can see it? Okay. Yeah. You are sort of a guinea pig here because I'm using this smart board, and nobody really knew that if we use this zoom and I highlight things, whether that would actually appear in your computer. This is an exciting day. Thank you very much for your help. All right. Okay, let's go back here. Oops, wrong one. Let's go back. Okay.
Can you make it? Yeah, take up the whole screen.
How's that?
That's great. I like that.
I'm glad I could help. Okay. So now let's clear the ink on this. Let's go on to this one where you have this particular symbol here, which is called the Zakef Gadol. And it goes, do you remember how that goes? That was it. Myra. Smoking. That was great. Okay. So that goes, Zakef Gadol. Everybody now. Zakef Gadol. Excellent. All right. So before we move on, I think, and this is the way that I always encourage people to study, instead of just moving on to new stuff, that you always go back to the beginning and then add on, because that reinforces what you already know. So let's go back here. think I may be cleaning the smartboard with my finger. Okay. So we have, listen first. Kadma munach zarka, munach sego, munach revi'i, mapah pashta, munach zakef katon, zakef gadol. Try it. That was special. Okay. Wasn't that special? Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to go on to the next part. And we talk about groupings here of things that you frequently find, and this mircha tipcha, munach et nachta, is very often together. So if you think in terms of a theme, la dum bum ba dum bum ba da 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 da. That's what you hear throughout Torah reading and almost in every sentence. So let's try this. Mercha tipcha munach et nachta. Notice the munach again is a little bit different than in some of the other places. Bum bum. It's like that. Mercha tipcha munach et nachta. Give it a try. Good. All right. Back to the beginning. And we have, I'm just having the greatest time up here. All right. Listen. Kadma munach zarka, munach sego, munach revi'i, mapach pashta, munach zakef katon, zakef gadol, mercha tipcha, munach et nachta.
Could we go over that second line munach, the first one?
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Yeah, I changed it to a different variation.
Yes.
So you just go munach.
Oh, that's what I have.
Yeah, you're good with that. All right. To the beginning. Kadma.
Munach munach sego, munach revi'i, mapach pashta, munach zakef gadol, mercha tipcha munach et nachta.
Okay, very good. So now we are going to get to the end of a sentence, the sof pasuk, repeating the mercha tipcha with the same melody, but then having a doorbell at the end of the sentence. So,
Yeah, that's the one I see all the time. It's the Mercha Tifka.
so we have mercha tipcha, sof pasuk. So the end of a sentence always sounds like a doorbell. Shouldn't say always, because the end of an aliyah has a distinctive sound, but almost all the sentences sound like a doorbell. Mercha tipcha So, so. Very good. Okay, let's go back through the whole thing up to the special note that I'm going to be giving you called the paser, which is one of your biggest challenges. And again, you know, when you talk about why do certain words have certain trope sounds, and sometimes it's for emphasis, sometimes it's to give it a prominence. And when you're talking about a paser, that certainly is an extremely prominent sound. But let's go through this up to this point before we get to the paser.
Wait, could we go over after at nachta, the mercha? How did you sing?
Yeah, it's the same way as this. When you had mercha atikha munachet nachta, and then this is mercha atikha, same sound. And then a doorbell. So pasu. Okay. Back to the beginning. You can do it on your own. I'm tired. This is really good. Okay, really good. Okay, now we're going. I don't want to sound like I'm surprised. Oh, you're giving each other 5?
Yes, we are.
Oh, wow, there's some enthusiasm going on around here. All right. Okay, so now we have something that looks a little bit like a divining rod, I guess you could call it. I don't know. What would you call it?
Upside down H.
Backwards 4.
Oh, wow.
How about a chair upside down?
A chair, yes.
Yeah.
We have 2.
We're letting our imaginations run away with us. Okay. So this is the paser. And just highlight in the top is the symbol itself. And the paser goes like this. Paser. Bum 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 ba da da da. Paser.
How many of those?
This is where I draw the line.
All right. Say it again, we'll count the notes.
Nine.
9 steps. Bum 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 bum. It's dramatic, isn't it? Okay. It's not really fair, you know. Pat has a running start here because she's actually worked with me up to this
I
point.
do.
So
But
you know,
that's okay.
so she's really cheating. But
I
that's
know,
okay.
but she's never done a Torah portion yet. So.
Okay, one more time. That's really good. Okay, and now before we go back to the beginning, I actually want to do a couple more. And I think we want to talk a bit more about what the ultimate goal is and what we're going to be doing with this. Right here is where I want to go with it. Talisha Kitana, and then I want to do the Talisha Gedola right afterwards. So you know, right here we have a symbol which is like a circle with the stem going to the right, and then for the Gedola, we have a circle with a stem going to the left. Okay, everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Talisha Kitana goes Talisha Kitana, Talisha Kitana. One more time, Talisha Kitana. With me, Talisha Kitana. Want to try it? Very nice. One more time. Talisha. Okay, and then we have the Talisha Gedola behind it, or after it. And that's one with the stem going to the left. And this goes Talisha Gedola. Da 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 da.
Do the other
Does
one.
that sound a little bit like the 1812 overture? Da 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 da. Oh, yeah, we guess you have to have imagination. Da, da, da,
Could you do one and then the other? The
Sure,
left and the
I
right?
can do that. So the first one is Talisha Kitana. Second one, Talisha Gidola. So it's da 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 Talisha Kitana. Talisha Gidola.
Talisha Katana.
How much more can you take?
I'm just helping her stay under control over
Okay,
here.
so here's what I'm thinking.
With all my music background, this is
Well,
like,
yeah, I know.
right.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
so what I think we'll do is practice from the beginning up to this point. Next week, we are going to finish this up. Now, the second page, I wouldn't worry too much about. It's really going to be the bottom two lines of the second page that we're going to focus on, because the top two lines contain notes that only appear in the Torah like 4 times a year. And the likelihood that you're actually going to be chanting when you have one of those is slim and none. So to teach you something that you're not going to use, it's really not going to stick with you. You do have the recording, so that if you really want to learn it, I'll go through it with you just for fun and to watch you suffer. But but I'm not going to really, force feed you on it.
Just make sure I never get one of those portions. We're good.
Yes, that can be arranged.
Okay, I thought it could.
Okay. All right. Let's All right, so this is what we're going to do right now. And you know what? I feel like singing too, so I'll do it with you. Let's do it from the beginning, all together now. Kadma Muna Zarka Muna Sego Muna Mapa Pasha Muna Zakev Kato Zakev Gado Merkati Ika, Muna Etnaka, Meratika, Sopasu, Hazer, Delisha Kitana, Delisha Gidola. All right, let's clear the ink here. So, let's see what I can do here. And let's do it again. Way. Okay, so we're talking about drawing the line right there.
Right.
And then we will finish it up next week. So when I talked about the second page, which doesn't want to come. Okay, there it is. All right. These are the section that we're really going to work on is right here. Because this one, the shalshelet, and it's not actually showing up very clearly on it, but it's like it sort of looks like
The little,
like that.
the lightning.
And it goes shalshelet. Okay, rarely going to hear that one. And then we have this, which is the yomo, and it goes Yerach ben yomo. That sort of looks like that. And then we have the karne kufula is, and you can't really see it clearly, but it's like this and like this. So it's like a Talisha Kitanan Gedola having a duel facing off with each other. And it goes Karne Farah. And then Merchach Fula is Merchach Fula La Merchach Fula. Similar to the other one, but not quite. So the ones we're going to be working on here, another Merchach Tipcha, Merchach Sof Pasuk, is the end of an aliyah, so you can always tell when you're finished. All right, and that's what we're going to work on next week. Different screen.
It works.
Where are we going up to? Just going to this or just going?
All right. So let's let's talk about what we're going to try to accomplish, and also about how one would study. In the past, when somebody learned Torah, they would get a little Torah portion and a recording, and you would listen to it and listen to it and listen to it, and then you'd memorize it, and you really didn't understand the trope notes, and there was really a lack of self-sufficiency because you were really dependent upon the recording. So obviously, with learning the trope, at least theoretically, you could open to any parsha and you'd be able to figure out how it goes. And that's what we're striving for. Now, there is obviously going to be some memorization that takes place, because if you look at the Torah, and I think I have a little snapshot here to show. There it is. Okay, this is a Torah passage, and it's got all the vowels and everything, but when you're reading the Torah, there ain't none. They're not there. There are no symbols, there are no vowels, and you can't even see where to end a sentence because there's no punctuation, there's no period. So you have to practice something like this, and then practically commit it to memory so that you're able to transfer over to the Torah side. So there is some memorization that's required in terms of the symbols and the vowels, but not to the same extent as if you were learning all the music dependent upon a recording. The other thing that's very important that we practiced today was making sure that you always go back to the very beginning every time you practice. So you add another piece to the puzzle, and then you go on to the beginning, and you add a little more, and you go back to the beginning. Because what you really want to do is you want to reinforce what you already know. The challenge I have with a lot of kids is when I give them a new assignment, they look a little flustered when I make them go back and start at the beginning. And then I realize why they're flustered, because they know the latest stuff, but don't remember what the beginning is, because they took the easy way out and just worked on the last two lines instead of going all the way back to the beginning. So don't disappoint me. No,
I sometimes start with the last line so that I'm really confident on that last line.
as long as you ultimately go back to the beginning, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I like to be able to finish strong. You know?
I understand that. You also want to begin strong too, because
right.
otherwise people won't wait around for the end. You know, all right, I think that that probably captures what we're going to do today. There you are. Okay. You appeared on my screen again, Haviva. I'm hoping, there were some other folks from Beth Shalom B'nai Zakein who were going to join us. Yahat talked about actually coming here. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. I don't know whether you'll see him, but you can always tell him I asked about him. And then there was, last week, Loretta joined us. She was in Georgia, but she's not with us today. And then Candace wanted to learn it as well, and she hasn't been with us either of the 2 weeks. So if you happen to talk to any of them, they can reach out to me, and I can try to get them up to date with everything we've done up to this point. No problem joining in progress, and but I'd like to be able to help with that too. So I hope this has been good for you, and let's do it again next week.
Could you send us the Zoom recordings?
No.
Thank you.
No, actually, the recordings, what's going to happen with this is Brian is going to come down, because I'm recording it into this computer, and he's going to take the recordings and put them in a YouTube, and then we're going to give you access to them so that you're going to be able to get it.
All right. Thank you.
You're going to think I was just going to give you a straight out no.
I knew the no wouldn't work.
Yeah, okay. All right. Is everybody happy?
Yes.
Okay, good. Aviva, thanks for joining us, and look forward to seeing you again next week. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me, okay? Just, and I'll be happy to help you with it personally, or if you want to go through anything, we can make a phone appointment and go through it, and you will have my full attention. Okay?
I'm gonna
There you are. You got it. Wonderful. All right. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We only have to go around front. She can see us.
She could hear us.